Hello, good evening, everyone. Can anyone confirm if you can see my uh, face and am I audible? Can you see my video feed? Just type in the chat box if you can see. So, can anyone confirm if they can see my screen? Just type in the chat box. Great. So, maybe we'll start in a few minutes. Let us wait for some more people. So, my voice is clear, like this audio levels are fine, or. Okay, so let's wait for a few more people to join and then we'll start. So I guess there are few people who have joined, so we can start the session. So can anyone just confirm if I am visible and my audio is clear? And I'm sharing my screen and just confirm if my screen is also visible. So can you see this? See my window? This right now. Is the font size fine for every one of you, or should I increase the font size? So yeah. So now are the is the text clear? Okay, fine. So yeah, in the previous session, we intended to solve the problems on the topics, yeah, on conditionals, the if-else statements in C, and then switch cases, and then the repetitions in C. So we use loops for repetitions in C. In the previous session, we were only able to solve problems on if-else conditions, uh, and the switch case. We were not able to solve any problem on loops. So we will resume from there only. So maybe I can give a recap on the previous session. So initially we saw some MCQ types questions where we had to see what the problem was doing. And then we solved some problems that required us to use switch case statements and if-else statements. Yeah. So I think I also gave you guys uh, some problems for practice. So maybe I can start from there also. Okay, so I gave two problems for practice. So everyone can see my screen right now. No? Yeah. So the first problem was write a C program that prints total number of days in a month of a year of the year 2024 using switch case. So any one of you have any doubt in this problem? If you have, kindly ask in the chat box. Then I will help you to solve this problem. If not, we can proceed with the next problem. So anyone, do you have any doubts in this problem? So someone is asking the solution to problem 14. So Gaurav, you are asking for the solution to the problem 14. So maybe I can take the problem right here only and then solve it for you guys. So I will put it in the week 4 document itself. The problem, write a C program that to print the total number of days in a month for the year 2024 using switch case. So I already explained you guys what the switch case looks like and what is the syntax for it. So basically, switch case works some similar is a conditional statement that allows us to jump to particular cases based on the value of some expression. So in the syntax goes like this. So we write switch statement followed by a small braces in which the expression is provided. We need to evaluate the value of the expression and jump to the case defined for that particular value. So suppose the expression returns some certain value equals to value 1, then the case for the that value, that is value 1, will be executed. So we do something inside the case block, and then the break is necessary here because if we do not use break, the switch case statement will go on executing all the cases for each of the values. And lastly, there is a default case. Suppose the expression returns some value that is not defined by the switch case, defined by the cases here, then the control goes to the default case where some default operation is provided, default execution is done. So by default, it might say that your case is not defined, or you can give user some information about that the case has not been defined also. Right, so let's go ahead and solve the problem. Write a C program to print the total number of days in the month for the year 2024. So, uh, so yeah, so the program input would input will be the month number. So the first month has 31 days, and the second month has 29 days, and so on. So this we know from the calendar only. So the output would be, so let's say I given the input as, suppose the input is 2, then the output should be 29. So this is how this program should look like. This is the logic. Someone is asking, are the brackets mandatory for every case? So brackets, the curly brackets in C programming language are used for defining the scope of particular statement. So we use braces here to define that if there are multiple lines here, then they are in that case, in that particular case. So that's why they are required here. So let's go ahead and solve the problem. Hmm. Yeah. Let me see. Hmm. I guess I forgot the folder in directory in which I was writing the code for this course. So maybe I can create one right now. And then 5. So the problem is problem 14 from week 4. And then this is my phone screen. The text is visible. So anything I'm writing on the screen is this visible to you guys? Just confirm. Till then I can write in the code. Yeah, fine. So let's go ahead and maybe create a switch case statement. So basically what we have to do, we have to take in the month number as input and print the number of days in that month. Fine. So let's see. So let's declare a variable of integer data type int month, and we can give the prompt to the user that kindly enter the month number. So we are asking the user to print in this month number, and then the output is printed on the screen. Then we use the scanf statement to basically take in the input in the variable month. So now we have got the value of the month number in the variable month, right? And then what we do, we simply use the switch case statement to print the number of days. So let's say we switch to the expression whose value is equals to month. So what happens here is basically the evaluation of this expression returns the month number that is given as input. So what was the syntax here? So let's define the scope of the switch statement using the curly braces. And then suppose it's case 1, then what we have to do? So someone was asking, can we use, do we necessarily need to use the curly braces for each of the cases? So let's see if we need. I don't think it's so. So let's say for month one, it is 31, and then print the number of days in the month one is fine. So let's go ahead and execute this program just for debugging purposes. So I might increase the font size here also. And then we go ahead and then so we do not need the curly braces to for each of the cases, but we curly braces are used everywhere where we need to define a scope that is greater than one line. So here what is happening, if we have one case there was not a problem, but for multiple cases we need to use the break statement. So that's why we end up using the curly braces in each of the cases. So now let's go to case 2. Then just simply give the prompt of days in the month 2 is 29. So yeah, now we need to break it. So this way we can write up to 12 cases for each of the month of the year 2024. The number of days in the month 3 is 31. And then we can simply break it. So is it necessary for case 1 to be January or a month or 31 days only? I mean, it can be like June or February. So Kshitiz, I don't think I get your problem. What you're saying? Is it necessary for case 1 to be January or a month? So basically, what we are saying here is the problem is saying the user will give you input is the month number. So the first month is January. That's why for case 1 we are printing the number of days in the month 1 is January. That is 31. So you're saying you want to make June as the first month of the year, then it's up to you. But the convention is that we consider January as the first month of the year. So, so yeah, I mean, you can also. So you're asking how come the first person get to know whether which month is of like which month has the which corresponding order. So in that case, what you could have done, you can simply given a prompt like this. Maybe something like this: dear user, kindly find the following order of the months in an year. So basically what you could have done, you could have told the user that this is the order of the months. And yeah, and then let's say you're printing the ordering like this. 1 for January, 2 for February, and then 3 for March, and so on. So, Kshitiz, did I answer your question? So the convention can be defined, can be some convention that is fixed by the entire community. Let's say the days of week, the months of an year. But you can also give your own convention. Suppose I want to say that the fifth month is not May, instead of I want to jump it and say July, then yeah, you can use it. But it's not like universally understood. No, no, no. So yeah, fifth one is May. and then the 6th month is June, and then 7th month is July, and then 8th month is August, 9th is September, 10 is November, August, October, November, October, and then so I'm just completing this program so that I can provide the solution to you guys also. November, and then 12 is December. Fine. So in this way, you get to tell the user that these are the mappings for the months. And then yeah, user can simply enter the month number and you solve the problem. So maybe I can finish up this also. Case 4 is the number of days in the month. 4 is 30. Maybe I could copy this. Six, 7, 8. So 5 is 31. 6 is 30. 7 is 31. Then 8 also is 31. Then it's 9, 10, 11, and 12. And the month 9 is 30. 10 is 31. 11 is 30. And 12 is 31. So yeah, this completes our problem and program. And then we can simply see the outputs. So yeah, in this way the user gets the prompt as these are the days, these are the month numbers. So I hope all of you are able to see this text on the screen. And then suppose I want to know the number of days in the month August, so I can simply type in 8 and it says the number of days in the month 8 is 31. So for the month 1 is 31 also, maybe for the month 11 it's 30. So everyone, so did this solve your problem? So if you have any doubts, kindly type in the chat box. I am proceeding with the next problem. So I'll update this code, this document in the provided sheet only. I think this font is much better than. So yeah, I don't see any problems, doubts. So maybe we can proceed. So yeah, this was the problem and we solved it. So let's go ahead and see the next problem. So it was write a C program to check whether a number is even or odd using switch case. So does anyone has any doubt in this? If you have, kindly just type in the chat box so that I can solve this problem for you, or maybe we can proceed further. So write a C program to check whether a number is even or odd using switch case. So I'm not seeing any queries from you guys. So can anyone just type in the logic that you will be using to solve this problem? So can anyone just confirm that you are able to solve this problem on your own and then type in the logic? So just Gaurav, can you just say type in the logic so that I can be sure that you guys got this stuff? Ah, someone has doubt in this. Fine. So maybe I can solve this problem for you. So here is the problem. So I will add on this. So this is problem 15. Write a subprogram to check whether a number is even or odd using a switch case. So the input will be a number. So a number, let's say 20, and the output should be 20 is an even number. So this is what the program is expected to do. And let's go ahead and write some logic for this. So yeah, some of you have answered this. If n1 modulo 2 equals to 0, then even, else odd. For even number, for odd, this case 1 according to me would be like if a modulo 2 equals to 0, 0 equals to 0, then it's even. So yeah, you guys have the correct logic. So just let me go ahead and type this logic using switch case so that everyone just gets set. So let me create a new problem. 15.4.c. So I hope now every one of you are familiar with this uh, preprocessor directives, the stdio library function, and then why we are using void main and why the main function is present, why it is required. Fine. So let's go ahead and create a variable that will store the number. So okay, so someone of you has used bitwise operator. And one, yeah, it's an elegant answer, but yeah, I would write this code using simple logic so that everyone can understand. So let's go ahead and tell the user kindly enter a number and use the scanf statement to read in the value. So telling you again, I'm just reiterating. Percentage D is the format specifier that tells the function scanner that we are going to take in the input is an integer. Let's define the address, give the address at which we want to store that input. It's the variable number. Now what we want to do, we want to check whether it is even or not using switch case. So let's go ahead. Yeah, use the switch expression and then give some expression. So what is the logic? So the logic is if number modulo 2 equals to 0, then case of even, and if number modulo 2 equals to 1, then case is odd. So let's go ahead and create those cases. So what if I write in number modulo 2 here? The expression will be evaluated and it will jump to some given condition. So, so given case, so if there are two possibilities. Whenever we divide a number by two, there are two possible remainder values, 0 and 1. So if the case is 0, then what it means? It means the number is even. So we simply say that the number and maybe give the value is even, and the number was in this variable number. Fine. So here we can see we are not actually using a variable name value. We are also using the outcome of particular expression. Evaluate outcome of the evaluation of a particular expression. So here the expression is number modulo 2. And if the case 1, then the number is odd. So this is how you will write this logic. Number. And since this is the last case, we don't need the break here, but just for uh, good coding practices, I will just provide this. Right, break statement here. So break in the case 1 was not required because there was no other case beneath case 1. So it will automatically jump to the next statement just after the switch statement. But I have it's good coding practice that you write homogeneous code. So yeah. So let's go ahead and compile and run this code. So I'm using the GCC compiler on my Ubuntu system. GCC 15 week 14.c dot out. And suppose I'm entering 20, the number 20 is even, and then 21, the number 21 is odd. Fine. So I hope everyone gets this logic and you will be able to solve this problem. So let's go ahead and copy the code here. So solution. Fine, and then just delete it. So anyone has any doubt regarding this implementation, regarding this code? Just type in the chat box, else we can proceed further. So these were the practice problems that I gave you guys for the previous session. So if you have any doubts, just simply raise your hand. If you don't, we can proceed further. Or just type in the text box. Yeah, fine. So I think there was a student who actually asked this question. So yeah, B Ramu. Ramu, so is your doubt cleared? Will you be able to solve this problem on your own after this? So just type in the chat box so that I can confirm and proceed. Yeah, fine. Great. And then, yeah, let's start with the problems for this session. So these were the few practice problems that I gave for in the previous session, and I just simply solved some of the student doubts. So just make sure you go through these documents that I'm providing. So try to solve these problems again after this session so that you are familiar with writing code in C. Just know that practice is the best way in getting starting with programming languages. So maybe I can take a break for 2 minutes and then we'll start with the today's session, the problems for the today's session. So let's start with today's session. So these are the problems for this session. So I'm Rupesh Kumar, and this session is we call this. It is today's 23rd. So these sessions are being held every week on Fridays. So make sure you attend this session. So yeah, these are the problems for this session. I hope my screen is visible and my you can see my audio visual feed. You can hear I am audible and my video will be visible to you now. So let's start. The statement that transfer control to the beginning of the loop is called anyone. So yeah, so can anyone just tell me the statement? Go to, no, go to is not just that statement. Yeah, the correct answer is B, option B, continue. So solution option B. So goto is used to jump to a particular line in the code arbitrarily. And continue is the statement that transfers the control to the beginning of the loop. Continue statement is is used to transfer the control to the beginning of the loop. So yeah. So Shruti is asking for an example. So let me give one example. So maybe I can give a program. I can write a program for that also. So let's go ahead, create a new file. It's 1.c. So it's problem one. So example using that uses continue statement. Fine. So start include void main. Fine. And so let's say I declare a variable integer I and give it a value of 10. And I'm using the base. Maybe I can use the while loop. While I is less than equals to 10, what we have to do? We have to printf, let's say, the value of I. So simply percentage d um, the value of I is backslash n and the value of I. Um, and now let's say we use the continue statement here and then use the decrement operator. So we are basically decreasing the value of I by 1 after the continuous statement. And we are not doing anything before the continuous statement. And let's see what this program does. So let's go ahead, clear the terminal, then compile, and then run. So you can see the program is executing indefinitely, and it is saying at every line you can see it's saying the value of I is 0. So this is the classical case of infinite loops in C, in the programming language, basically. So you have to pay attention to all the conditions that helps you to exit out of the loop. So let's go ahead and debug this problem. What is happening here? So we have initially set the value of I to 0. Then we are starting the while loop. And the condition to exit the loop is when the value of I will become 11. If I is integer and we are incrementing it by 1 at each step. Then we simply print the value of I, and then we are using the continue statement. So what it is doing here is it is making the code to skip these line I minus minus, and the control is going back to the line number 6. That is the starting of the loop. And then again, it checks if I is less than equals to 10. Since the value of I has not been changed, the value is still 0, then yeah, the program will enter into the loop body, execute it, and give continue executing it until I is 11. And since we are not changing the value of I till the continuous statement, it will not change, and the program enters in that infinite loop. So let's go ahead and correct this code. Simply remove the continuous statement from here, and let's see what happens. And we can simply dot out. So, okay, so there is another issue. What I have done here is you can see the value of I is something negative and it's going on, it's increasing. The code is not exiting again. So here also what I have, the mistake that I have done is I have decremented the value of I in each iteration, whereas the while statement was looking for the value of y to get greater than 1. For that, we have to increase its value, not decrease it from 0. So basically what I will be using I plus plus here. And let's go ahead and again run this code. So now you can see the value of I is 0, 1, 2 up to 10. So this is how the program looks like. And it is terminate, the loop is executing after 10 iterations. So 11 iterations here. So Kshitish, did this answer your question? So can you just confirm if you had any doubts? So yeah, great. Let's go ahead and solve the other problems. So what is the output of the following C program? So let's go ahead and parse this program line by line. So initially we are including the standard IO library, and then we are defining the main function. Within the main function, we are declaring integer variables a and is giving it the value 0. Uh, so yeah, I mean there is a problem, a question from Gaurav. So I will take this after this problem. So yeah, and then I'm giving the value, initializing the value of 0 to the variable a, and I'm initializing other variable I with and not giving any values. I'm simply declaring it. Then what we are doing here, we are using the for loop here. So the syntax for the for loop goes like this: any initialization or some other stuff goes in the first part, and then there is a terminator. Then in the second part, the condition is defined. This condition is especially used for checking whether when to exit out of the loop. Fine. So basically, we were using while I is less than 5, and then that condition is coming here. So it's basically a conditional statement that returns true or false. Then the third part is incrementing the value by some arbitrary in step value. So here what the step value is 0.5. Here you can see it's using shorthand operator. So I plus equals to 0.5 means I equals to I plus 0.5. Yeah. So this is how this for loop works. So basically here at the first part, we can declare variables, give them values. We can also skip this block and just give nothing. Then yeah, here we are providing the condition, and the last we are increasing the value. So the control goes like this. Anything, the evaluation, the expressions present in the first part before the first terminator are executed. Then the control goes to the second part between the just before the second terminator. It checks the condition. If this expression, the value of this expression is true, then the loop body is executed. If it's false, the loop body is not executed, and the control jumps to the next statement just after the end of the body of the loop. And after, if the condition is true and the body of the loop is executed, then the condition goes back to this the last part of the defined in the for loop, last expression, and that expression is evaluated. Fine. And then what happens after this increment or in this evaluation, again the control goes back to the condition expression that is present in the middle, and it again check whether we should go inside the body of the loop or not, the program. And then what it's doing, it's simply incrementing the value of a by 1, and then using the continuous statement here to jump the control to the beginning of the loop. So and then it's printing the value of a after the loop executes, and let's see what is the output. So the options are 5, 10, no output, and compilation error. So let's see what is happening. So I is an integral integer variable, and it is initialized the value of 1 and of 0 initially, and then it's the loop checks if I is less than 5. Yeah, I is less than 5. The value of a increases by 1, so a becomes 1. Then the control jumps back to the beginning of the loop, and the value of I is increased by 0.5. But we know here that I is basically integer variable. So this operation would return a zero. So basically this is doing integer arithmetic here. So here it means I equals to I plus zero. So I is initially zero and zero plus zero is zero. So this is an example where the loop goes on infinitely. So it's an infinite loop. It does not exists. So the program will not give any output. The correct answer is option C. Solution option C, no output as the one. So as the program enters an infinite loop. Fine. So yeah, someone is saying, sir, please explain it once more. So huh. So let's go ahead and just use this code and see what happens, and then I will explain it. Let's see. Hmm. So yeah, you can see the program does not exist. It enters an infinite loop. So what is happening here is I is an integer variable, and when you add some floating value to it, what happens? So if I add I plus 0.5, let's see what is happening here. So let's simply print the value of I here and see what is happening. The value of I plus 0.5 is, so the value of I plus 0.5 is, and then use the format specifier /n, and then simply print the value of I. So let's see what happens here. So you can see the value of I is zero, basically. It's not incremented. So this is happening because I is actually an integer value. Whenever you type cast a float value to the integer value, what happens? It becomes something like this, integer part of 0.5, and that is zero. That's not 0.5. That's why only half of the only zero is getting added to I in each iteration. And since the value of I is not increasing anytime, the loop goes into an infinite loop. So someone is saying, but int can be multiplied with float. Yeah, integer can be multiplied by float. So let's go ahead and do that also. So for that, you have to basically typecast it to integer. Otherwise, it will typecast it to float. Otherwise, so what is happening here is you are on the left hand side, we have to use some float variable. So let's say float j, and then assign this value, and then let's see what happens. So yeah, so what is happening here is it's for arithmetic operations. What it is doing, it is simply it's converting both the data values to the to integer and then doing the operation. So the value of 0.5 becomes 0 in integer, and then it multiplies by 0. That's why. So I so the value of I has not been defined here. So I can give it the value 0 here. So and then so yeah, there was a mistake. here. So I wanted to show you this. So there was a mistake from my side. So let's go ahead and compile this. So yeah, so you can see the value of I plus 0.5 is 0. I was initialized to 0. So the value is not incrementing because the compiler is simply converting 0.5 to 0 here. And let's see if I give I the value, let's say 1, and save the output in the float variable j, and see what is happening here. The program is infinite loop. So yeah, you can multiply or divide an integer variable with the float variable and you will get the answers. But if you use arithmetic but on the important part is the variable on the left hand side in multiplication and division. So basically in that case, it has to be float if you want floating point values also. If you don't want, then you can use integer. But for addition and subtraction case, what happens is basically the values are converted to integer type and then the operation is done. That's why the value of I was 0 for every iteration and it goes into the infinite loop. So so I equals to I plus 0.5 translates gets to I plus 0 since I is integer data type. Yes. Fine. So Kshitiz, I hope I answered your question. So Kshitiz, can you just confirm if I fine? So let's go ahead and see the output of the next problem. So what is the output of the following C code? So again, we can see in the main function, we are declaring a variable A, initializing the value as 1. Then we are using the if condition and using a postfix decrement operator. So what it does is basically it uses the value of A as is for this statement and uh, decrements the value and decrements the value of A from the next statement onwards. And then we are printing something. So here we are printing true and then plus A and printing false. So let's see and parse this code and see what happens. So here A is 1. In this line, what happens? Here A becomes 0. So due to the postfix decrement operator, uh, so maybe I can write it. A becomes 0 here. And now 1 corresponds to the true Boolean value for the if condition here. So it first prints true, then A becomes 0 here. Now again we have if condition and a prefix increment operation. So what happens here is basically A becomes A plus 1. A becomes A plus 1 here. So that means A equals to, so it was 0 in the previous line, it becomes 1. So yeah, the condition is true. Then again it prints false. So the correct answer is option C. Solution. Option C. Both true and false are printed. Both true and false are printed in separate lines. Separate lines. Fine. Yeah, so someone answered it correctly. So again, someone is saying, Gaurav was saying, sir, here the answer is 0. So why C option? So Gaurav, what are you talking about? Problem number 2. Can you just confirm so that I can answer your query? Yeah. So basically the value of I is 0, but the program, the what would be the output of the following C program? So the C here we are not printing any value because it will not print any value because what happens, the program gets stuck in this for loop only and it runs infinite runs for infinite amount of time, infinite number of iterations. So the for loop never exits here in this program, and this line, the printf percentage d a, never gets executed. That's why the compiler will show no output. So the program is basically stuck here. You can't proceed forward. That's why nothing will be printed. So Gaurav, did I answer your question? Yeah, fine. So let's go ahead and see another problem. What will be the output? And inside the main function, we are declaring a variable x, initializing the value of 1. So here we are using the do while loop. So do while loop is exit controlled loop. So what happens in do while loop? First, the body of the loop is executed, and then the condition is checked. So a do while loop runs at least once. The body of the loop is executed at least once. So let's see what this problem does. So yeah, let's go ahead and read the code. So do, and inside the loop body, what I'm saying, the first statement is continue here. So can anyone just say what will be the behavior here? What will this do? So we all know that continue statement is used to yeah, jump the control to the starting line of the loop. So someone answered again infinite. So yeah, Kshitij, you are right. It will be this is again an infinite loop. That is because the first line of the do while loop says continue, and since we are not checking any condition during the input, during the entry to the within the loop, it will not check this condition while x is less than equals to 10. So nothing will be executed, and the continue will make the control to jump to the initial line, that is again do, and then again continue, do continue, do continue, and it will go into the infinite loop. So there will be no output, option D. So let me write the answer, and then option D, the program returns, or maybe gives no output as the continue statement in the body of the loop makes the code skip the lines after it and jump the control to the beginning of the loop. So the value of x is never getting incremented, and the condition is not never getting checked, and it again. So basically, it again jumps and jumps and jumps, and it simply print does nothing. So there are two questions here. What is the basic structure of do while loop? So let me write in the basic structure of do while loop. Structure. So basically it goes like this. Do, and within the loop body, you have to do something. So do do something here, and then use check while condition is true. So basically it goes inside the loop body, does something, and then it checks while the condition is true. If the condition is false, exit the loop. Otherwise, it will again run the body of the loop. So the next question is, had the continue not there, then there would have been an output. So yeah, there would have been some output. So let's say continue is not here. So maybe we can comment it like this. So we are using double forward slashes to comment that line. Then what happens? It will print the value of the variable x, that is 1, and the value of x would have incremented by 1, so x would have become 2. And then we observe that there is a break statement. So the what does the break statement does? It basically exits the loop. It makes the program exit the body of the loop and executes the next statement just after the loop. So that will After that will be this line printf after loop x equals 2. So we saw that type becomes 2 because of the postfix increment here. So x would have been 2. So yeah. So Kshitiz, this was the answer that you would have written. The value of x is 1. So let's go ahead and execute it also. Problem 4. So let's go ahead, execute it, and see what happens. So after the loop, x becomes 2. So initially x was 1, and after the loop, x becomes 2. So yeah, it's true. And let's say if continue was here, then it would have been an infinite loop. That was the initial problem. So you can see there is no output. Fine. So anyone any doubt? Kshitiz, have I answered your question or? Great. So let's go ahead and start with the next problem. What will be the output for the following problem? So in the within the main function, we can see we declare a variable k, initialize the value 0 to it. Then what I do, so it's a float variable. So everyone pay attention here that k is a float variable here. Now in the for, we have defined a for loop, and you can see we are not using any braces for defining the scope of the body of the loop, for loop. So by default, it is just one X line after the uh, statement. So basically in the for loop, we are giving the value of 0.5 to the variable k. Then we are checking if k is less than 3. So yeah, k is less than 3. Then it prints I love C. So it will print simply I love C, and then a line change will be happen. Then the value of k is incremented by 1. So 0.5 plus 1 is 1.5. 1.5 is again less than 3. So it prints twice I love C. Then again it becomes 2.5. The condition is true. So I love C will be executed. And then the value of k will become 3.5 and the condition will fail and the program will exit. So the correct answer is option B. So here the increment was happening because the variable k itself was a float variable. Option C. Yeah. So am I wrong or something? Oh yeah, option B. It's option B. Sorry. Let me correct. I love C will be printed 3 times. So option B is the correct answer. So few of you were right. So let me go ahead and execute this for you. So yeah, I love C is executed 3 times. Fine. So does it have anyone has any question? Anyone have you have any question for this problem? If not, we can proceed further. So I don't see any queries from you guys. So maybe I can proceed. So let me just check if these problems are from your current week or not. So yeah, fine. So We can proceed with the remaining problems also, since they are not the problem for this week. So maybe I can or this and this. Hmm. So let's go ahead and solve another problem. So what will be the output for this problem? So include standard io.h and then int main. In the main function, we can see we are declaring a variable ix and not initializing any value. Then every one of you are familiar with the ternary operator. I hope the ternary operator was taught to you guys in the class. I mean, NPTEL lectures also. So let's see what is going on here. So let's parse this statement one by one and then see what will be the output. And the value of x is not defined yet. So let's go ahead and solve this. So a word about ternary operator. It 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 works on the syntax is like this. Is so some condition here, value if true, and then value if false. So basically it returns some value and based on some condition. So let's say a variable has the value returned by this statement is the value that is based on the condition. If the condition is true, some values return. If the condition is false, some other values return. So this is how the ternary operator works. So let's go ahead and break this problem and solve this. So yeah. So here you can see there is a nested ternary operation going on here. So let's go ahead and divide it into different levels. So 4 less than 8. If the condition is true, so if true, then what we have to do? We have to return the value of this evaluation, or the value is 3. Fine. Sorry. Okay. Then within it there is another ternary operation going on. So it says if 5 not equals to 1 less than 5. So I guess we will be using the precedence of the operators here to solve this problem. Then the value has to be 1, otherwise the value has to be 2. So this is the ternary, again, another ternary operator within that ternary operation. And let's go ahead for solve this, and then we will use this value here. So let's, I had given a link to the precedence table in C of the operator. So we will go ahead and open that page. We can see which operator has to be evaluated first. Where was it? Operator precedence. So let's go ahead and open it. So our problem requires us to check, compare the precedence of the operators not equals to, less than, and equals to. So basically, these are the three operators that check whether they are basically checking the condition for equality. So they basically have the same precedence, but let's check the associativity. What associative we have to use here? So basically, no. So yeah, relational operators, equal to and non-equal, not equals to have the less precedence than the less than equal to and greater than equal to and less than or greater than operators. And among them also, the less than and less than equals to have higher precedence. No, no. So basically, the less than equal to, greater than equal to have the same precedence, but the associativity is left to right, and then equal to and not equal to are executed. So this equal to and not equal to will be executed later. First, this statement will be executed whether 1 is less than 5. So 1 is less than 5 returns um, 1 is less than 5 returns 0 because 1 is greater than 5. So it will check like this. If 5 not equals to 0, so let me just draw a bracket to tell which have to be executed first. Then the statement becomes like this, and then 1 or 2. Then again, they have left to right associativity. So since it's left to right associativity, then this operation will be carried out first, and then the right one will be done. So let's go ahead and see. 5 is not equals to 0 returns 1. Then we will check if 1 equals to 0, then the value is 1 or 2. So we know 1 is not equals to 0, the value will be 2. So it's again a ternary operation here, and the condition is false here. So the value is 2. So the internal ternary operation returns 2 here. So, so the expression becomes x equals to 4 less than 8. If it's true, then the internal we were basically solving this internal ternary operator, the nested one. So the answer was 2 here. So then the value has to be 2, otherwise the value has to be 3. So we know that 4 is not less than it. Thus the answer is 3, option C. So x is equals to 3. X equals to 3 here. So this is how we solve this problem. We solve the ternary operation in present in the nested ternary, maybe we can say it, expression here. So it returns 2. So finally the value of x becomes 3. So someone is saying, what is the precedence of the ternary operator? So you can check it here. So the ternary operator has least precedence among the other logical and relational operators that you can see in this table only. So here, what happens is ternary is executed before the assignment operator. So yeah, ternary operator has a higher precedence than the assignment operator. That's why we initially solve the right hand side of this expression and then assign the value to the variable x. Fine. Option C. So Gaurav. So Gaurav is saying if there are two ternary operators, which will be executed first. So the condition says right to left. So basically, yeah, the if there are two ternary operators in the same expression, then the right one will be executed and then the left one will be executed. This is what the associativity tells. But in this case, what is happening is the ternary is inside another ternary. So for that case, the ternary operation that is inside has to be solved first before the compiler can solve the outside ternary operation expression. That's why we needed to solve it here. Fine, Gaurav? Is the doubt clear? Fine. So let's go ahead. Anyone else you have any doubt in this regarding this problem? So I'm not seeing any responses from you guys. So maybe I can proceed. Fine. So let's go ahead and see the next problem. The following program is used to find the reverse of a number using C language. Find the missing condition inside while statement that has been indicated at x. So basically we have to check the missing condition. We have to see what that condition should be. So what is our aim? So let me check if this problem has been given to you guys. Number of digits, power of 2. I don't think. Uh, so, ठीक है. So yeah, we can solve this problem. So what does the problem statement say? It says that we are given provided a program, and we have to find the reverse of a number using C language. We have to find the missing condition inside the while statement that has been indicated at XXXX. So we have to fill in the code. So let's go ahead and solve this problem. So let's read the code. So we have declared a variable n that belongs to the integer data type. Then we have used the reverse number and initializes the value 0. Then we have another variable that stores the remainder. Then we prompt the user to enter an integer and store the value in the variable n. Then the while statement starts and some condition is to be given here. So we have to find the condition, find out the correct condition here, fine. And then what the program does is it's basically saying n remainder equals to n modulo 10. So let's take some example and then run this loop and let's see what is happening here. And we know that we need to return the reverse of the number, reverse of the digits of that number. So let's say if the input is, let's say, 10223, then the output should be 32201. So let's see what the program does here. So n has the value 10223. So remainder equals to n modulo 10. Then this means remainder equals to what is the remainder when we divide n divide by 10? So the remainder will be last digit. So everyone, can you like confirm if you get this? If you don't, kindly ask so that I can clear it. Anyone? Do you have any doubts? So whatever number you take, if you divide it by 10, so yeah, Gaurav is saying he doesn't understand. So what happens when you divide a number of 10? What happens when you divide a number by 10? So let's take some examples and then we will see what maybe what remainders you will get. You will get when you divide a number by 10. So let's take some basic examples. So let's say if we divide 1 divided by 10, then so basically the outcome of the modulo operation. 1 modulo 10 will be 1. Let's say we increase it, 121 modulo 10 would be 121 modulo 10 would be 1. So it's basically when you divide it by the quotient will be 12 and the remainder would be 1. Everyone, can you confirm this? So basically 12 into 10 and the remainder is 1. So 10 12s are 120 and the remainder is 1. Everyone, can you confirm this? Gaurav, you did not understand it. So can you just confirm if you are getting this? What will be the outcome when you divide any number by 10? What will be the remainder? So let's say what will be the remainder if I divide 1, 2, 3, some sort of this number by 10? What is the output of this? So Gaurav, can you answer it, or Akansha? Anyone? So the number is 123232323 modulo 10. So yeah, the correct answer is 3. So basically the modulo by 10 operator here gives you the last digit. I mean the least significant digit of that number. You are getting the least significant digit from the right hand side. Fine. So now we understand the behavior of modulo 10 operator. So now remainder would be, for our case, if n was 10223, remainder would be 3. Then what we are doing, we are doing some mathematical operation here. We are multiplying the value that the reverse number had itself by 10 and then adding the remainder. So initially the reverse number was 0. So what it becomes here is 0 into 10 plus remainder. The remainder is 3. So the reverse number becomes 3 here. So everyone, are you getting this? So the reverse number becomes 3 here. And now what we are doing? We are doing integer division here. So n becomes n divided by 10. That is equals to So what will be the output here? Can anyone just say? Type in the chat box. When you divide some integer value by 10, so say the integer value is 10223, what will be the output? What will be the result of this division? So someone is saying 1022. So yeah, this is correct. It will simply return the quotient of that division. So n becomes 1022. So now let's go ahead and now the loop again checks for the condition. We don't know what the condition is yet. So let's let it be. And now the reverse number, the value of reverse number is 3. So let's keep it here. The reverse number is 3 and n is 1022. So again, the remainder is n modulo 10. So the remainder becomes 1022 modulo 10. So what is the outcome of 1022 modulo 10? So it will be 2. I hope you guys know by now. So now what the reverse number it does, it multiplies its value by 10 and adds the remainder, that is 2. So the reverse number becomes 30 plus 2, that is 32. Fine. So everyone gets this. The reverse number become 32. So can you see some pattern here that is going on here? So the reverse number was initially 0. Now it is 32. So is it matching the output that we expected? So yeah, it is matching the output. These are the most significant bits, most significant 2 bits of the expected output. So now again, we go ahead and divide the value of n by 10. So n was 1022. So 1022 by 10 will be return 102. That is the quotient of the division. Again, we take the remainder of, compute the remainder of 102 modulo 10. That is again 2. Then the reverse number is 32 right now. So we multiply it by 10. So that becomes 320 plus the remainder, that is 322. So you can say it is matching the expected outcome that we wanted. And then the number becomes n becomes 10. Now what happens? We again take the remainder divided by 10. So it is basically 0 here. So now the reverse number is 322. Maybe I can write it like this. So yeah, reverse number equals to 322 multiplied by 10 plus 0. So it is basically 3220. So it's again matching the expected output. And n again gets divided by 10 and it returns 1. So basically n becomes 1 here. Then again remainder is 1 divided by 10 and 1 modulo 10 is 1. Then the reverse number becomes 3220 into 10 plus remainder, that is 1. So it becomes 3220 0 plus 1. So plus 1, it is 322001. I mean 0, 1, sorry. And n becomes n divided by 10. 1 divided by 10 will be the remainder, the quotient would be 0 here. So now we can see the reverse number contains the exact value, that is the reverse of the digit of the input. So now what we want to do, we want to exit the loop here. What condition you can find here? What will help us to exit the loop right here? So how does the code know, like at this time, we have got the inverse of the number, we have traversed through all the digits of the number, and we can exit the loop. So can anyone just type in the chat box? So I guess you can see at the last n becomes 0. Now, whenever you divide n by 10, 0 by 10, the remainder will always be 0. And after each iteration, you will be simply adding zeros at the right hand side of the reverse number. So that will fail our cause. So what we have to do, we have to simply exit when n becomes 0. So yeah, the correct answer is n not equals to 0. Solution n not equals to 0. So x has to be replaced by this conditional and not equals to 0. Fine. So I hope every one of you gets this logic. So this will be helpful for every program that asks you to do some uh, operation on the digits of some numbers. So make sure you understand this logic. So this is option A. Option A, and not equals to 0. Fine. So does anyone have any doubt in this? Someone is saying, can n divided by 10 not equals to 0 also be written? So let's see what happens if you use n not and divided by 10 not equals to 0. So in the last, let's go ahead and just skip to the last iteration of the loop when n was 1. If n was 1, so here n was 1, the remainder would have been 1. So in that case, what would happen? So before n became 1, it was 10. So basically it was 10. And then what the while loop checks, 10 divided by 1. So 10 divided by 10 is not equals to 0. So it was true. Then the remainder would be 10 divided 10 modulo 10, that would have been 0. And when n becomes 0, so n equals to n divided by 10. In that case, what happens? 0 divided by 10 not equals to 0. So you are saying, can we write n divided by 10 not equals to 0? So n divided by 10 not equals to 0. So this means the value is less than 10. So what if the last digit was 1 in this case? 1 was already added. Then n is divided. So yeah, that would also be correct because the quotient has to be 0. So you're saying if we use n divided by 10, so what happens in that case? So n divided by 10 not equals to 0 means the value is 0 actually, or mm, hmm, and since we are dealing with integers, the value can be 0 to 9. So we can use this condition also because 0 divided by 10 is already 0, though, so it does not affect the case for us. And then if I suppose n is 0 to 9, some value between 1 to 9, then what happens? 1 divided by 10 would be 0. So it will fail the cause. Then suppose in this case, let's say n divided by 10 was 1. So let's go back one step and 3220, and then remainder was 10 modulo 10. 3220. Nice. So let's go ahead and we are at this stage. So currently the reverse number is 3220. We are till here and n is, so n was 10 and we divided by 10, it becomes 1. So n becomes n1. Now we check while n divided by 10 is not equals to 0. So 1 divided by 10 is actually 0. So it would have missed one step of the iteration here where it had to add the last digit. So no, that would not be correct. So just for check for the sanity check, we can run this code also. So Kshitij, your answer is incorrect. So n divided by 10 not equals to 0 would not have been correct. So let's go ahead and write n divided by 10 not equals to 0 here, and let's see what is the output. So let's say 1032 something. So you can say 2320. It's just printing 2320. It's not printing 23201. So Kshitij, did I answer your question? Were you able to understand this? That why it would not work when you use n divided? The condition is n divided by 10 not equals to 0. Fine. So I hope everyone understands this logic. This will be helpful for all the manipulations on the digits of a number. So all the programs that require that. Let's go ahead and solve the next problem. Compute the printf value of I and j of the C program given below. So let's jump into the main function and let's see what is defined here. So we are declaring two variables, int I and int j. These are two integer variables, and assigning the values of 0 and 15 to them. Then what we are doing, we have a while loop that checks for some expression. So in the previous session, we saw that there is a comma operator in the C language that has the least precedence among all the, I mean, least or the, let me check the precedence table again. So yeah, comma operator has the least precedence among all the operators in C. And so what it does is it basically executes the, so what happens is the left expression is executed, then the right expression is executed, uh, then the comma operator returns the value execute that is returned by the expression on the right hand side. So this is how the comma operator works. So we saw that this in the last session also. So let's go ahead and parse this code and see what it does. So while I is less than 8, what will be the output? So I0 is less than 8, it's true, and it disregards this condition. And it again checks while j is greater than 9. So 15 is greater than 9. So this condition is true. So you can simply say this is equivalent to while, since we are not assigning or changing the values or in values on the left hand side, it was the left hand side is simply returning true or false, and we are not changing the values. We don't need that condition also, because the comma operator only returns the value on the right hand side. So it becomes equivalent to while j is greater than 9, and simply we can run this loop and see what happens. So initially j is 15, so the condition is true, j is greater than 9. It becomes 1, so I becomes 1, then j becomes 14. Then again it checks 14 is greater than 9. So yeah, it's true. Then I becomes 2 and j becomes 13. And the loop goes on until j becomes 10. When j is 10, what happens? I becomes, when j is 10, I becomes, so 15. Initially j was 15. So 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10. So I becomes 6 in that case. And then j becomes 9. Now again it checks if j is greater than 9. So no, j is not greater than 9. J is equals to 9. The loop exits. The final value of I after the loop exits was 6 and the value of j was 9. So the correct answer is option C. Solution. Option C. The value of j is of I is 6 and j is 9. So anyone, do you have any doubts regarding this? So maybe I can clear it out for you guys. If anyone have any doubt for regarding this problem, how did we solve this problem? So just ask in the chat box so that I can solve it for you. So Gaurav is saying I can't understand. So let's go ahead. So Gaurav, are you familiar with the comma operator in C? So we discussed it in the last session also, in the previous session, and in the NPTEL course lecture also it was explained. So Gaurav, so are you familiar with the comma operator? So maybe I can give you a few examples and then you can tell me what will be the outcome. So let's say we are saying int x equals to 2, comma 3, comma 4. So what is the value? Just Gaurav, just tell me. So it has the least precedence and it goes from left to right. And it basically discards the value on the left. So you are saying the correct value is 4. Fine. So, and now let's take this example also. So let's say we have a Boolean variable, bool condition equals to this. Let's say I was 0 initially and j was 15. So Gaurav, what would be the value of condition after this expression is evaluated? So Gaurav, can you just tell us the answer? So I have a problem in the last question. So this question only you are talking about, or the previous question? So Gaurav, can you tell me like in you're talking about the problem 8 or problem 7? The problem 8, you're talking about problem 8. Just confirm that it's problem 8, then I can. Yeah, great. So, so can you solve this expression? Suppose I give you expression like this. Bool, a variable condition, and we are assigning the value based on this evaluation. If 0 is less than 8, comma, 15 is greater than 9. Can you just tell me the what will be the output? What the variable condition will contain? What? Great. Okay. So let's go ahead and solve this. So you know that comma operator first evaluates the expression on the left and then the expression on the right, discards the value returned by the expressions on the left, and returns the value evaluated by the expression on the right. So what will the outcome of the this expression 15 greater than 9? This says condition equals to 15 greater than 9. So are you getting what I'm saying here, Gaurav? So comma is basically evaluating the expression on the left, then it is evaluating the expression on the right, and then it is discarding the value returned by the expression on the left and simply returning the value returned by the expression on the right hand side. So Gaurav, did you get it? Are you getting it? What I'm saying here? Fine. So now we are on the same page that if something sort of this expression comes, it basically means condition equals to 15 greater than 9. So now let's go back to our problem. We again say this condition and return, we simply replace it with the exact value that we are getting here. So you know that I is less than 8, comma j is greater than 9 is equivalent to the condition j is greater than 9. So are you getting it? So, Gaurav, can you confirm if you are confused here or? Yeah, fine. So now what happens? This loop becomes while j is greater than 9. Great. So now in each iteration, we are saying we are incrementing the value of I by 1 and decrementing the value of j by 1. So the loop will exit when j becomes 9. So when j becomes 9, what would be the value of I and what will be the value of j? So we know that the loop will exit when j is 9. So obviously after the loop exits, the value of j is 9. So one thing is for sure among these options, option B and C are correct. Probably any one of them might be correct, either B or C. We simply have to check the value of the variable I here. So how many times I gets incremented till j becomes 9? So let's count that. So j is initially 15, so 1, I becomes 1. When j is 14, I becomes 2. When j is 13, I becomes 3. When j is 12, I becomes 4. When j is 11, I becomes 5. When j is 10, I becomes 6. And then j becomes 9. When j becomes 9, the code does not enter the loop body, it simply exits the loop. So in that case, j is 9 and I is 6. So the correct answer is option C. So Gaurav, did I answer your question? Are you still confused? Great. So if you have still doubt, I will this video session will be shared, recording will be shared with you guys. So make sure you go ahead and see that and just get the concepts clear. So these were the problems that I prepared for you guys for this session, and there are some other programming problems that I expect you guys to do on your own. after this session. So you guys can ask problems on the topics covered this for this session. So maybe I can open up the notes. Hmm. So these were the topics that were covered in the previous two sessions. So nested operations, so nested if else, then increment and decrement operators, and then ternary operator. So Shruti is saying, sir, please share homework programs. So I guess you guys get these programs after this session, no? We basically share this with the NPTEL team, and then they are responsible for sharing these problems with you. Fine. So let's get back to the notes. Then we saw the ternary operator, and then we solved some problems on the switch case statements. And then we saw the break statement, and then saw the repetitions. So basically, we saw three types of loop: while loop, do while loop, and for loop. So does anyone have any questions regarding these concepts? So maybe I can clear it out for you guys. So it's already 7:42, so there are 15 minutes, approximately 15 minutes left in this session. Okay, so Kshitij is saying that only January sessions are there right now. So I don't know what is going on from the NPTEL side. So they asked us to just upload these session videos and notes, and then they upload it from their side. So I don't know what's going on from their side. If maybe you guys can email them and ask them. So someone is saying, sir, I have a doubt in the week 4 assignment quiz. So let me see if that assignment have been solved for you. So you're talking about week 4 assignment quiz. So week 4 solution submissions have been done. So you guys have been graded for those problems, no? Can anyone just confirm if the week 4 solutions are, you have this week 4 solutions with you? Because, so did you get the answer? That's what I'm asking. Okay. So what is the question? Which of the following statement correctly describes the short circuit behavior in the logical expression? So this is the question. So I might need to see the problem because I don't know what are the options. Hmm. So let's see, go ahead and see what is short circuit behavior actually. In logical. Hmm. So yeah. So what is short circuiting? So basically, short circuiting is where an expression is stopped being evaluated as soon as its outcome is determined. So for instance, because the expression has already become determined. So this is a great example. So basically, short circuiting means is hmm, circuiting basically means is we don't need to evaluate each and every operation expression present in the conditional statement. So let's say uh, we have a if and say some expression or expression 2 maybe expression 2 or expression 3 and then do something. Fine. Now let's say if expression 1 is true. Suppose expression 1 is true, then what happens? Do we need to execute the expression 2? No, because there is an OR operation. So basically the evaluation of the expressions expression 2 and expression 3 is skipped by the compiler. Fine. So similarly, if suppose it was and logical and here, fine. And let's say expression 1 was false, then what would happen? Since this is an AND operation, it requires all of these three expressions to be true. And the first one is already false, then no need to check the expression 2 and expression 3. Then again, these two expressions need not to be evaluated by the compiler at all. This is what short circuiting means. And let's see the options that you have posted. Then we can solve this. The right hand side of an AND operation, logical AND operation is evaluated even if the left hand side is false. The right hand side of an right hand, no, the first option is false. Option is not correct. There's option B. The right hand side of an or a logical or operator is evaluated even if the left hand side is true. This is also not correct. Then the right hand side of an logical AND is not evaluated if the left hand side is false. This is correctly true. That what Sada was explaining. Then again, the right hand side of an or logical or operation is not evaluated if the left hand side is true. So option C and D both are correct, I guess. So can you anyone confirm which option is correct? Did you get the answer? The solution is C and D both, or what is the correct answer? So the solution says option D is only right. So let's see what happens. So we have the code here. We can write the code by ourselves and then check the behavior. So in such situations, the best way is to just write up a code, sample code, and see what is happening. So I will call it misc.c. So it's an interesting question and interesting answer also. So let's see what are the options. So the right hands option C and D we are going to check. So if the right hand side of an AND logical AND is not evaluated if the left hand side is false. So if false, and let's say I print something. Second expression. Great. And then again print third expression. Do nothing. Maybe printf inside block, maybe. Something sort of this, let's say. So it's giving some error. I'm doing something incorrect or what? So false. Okay, so it will be zero. Huh. So this is an example where the left hand side is false and the leftmost condition is false and other two are doing something. Let's see what happens. So it's not printing anything.
and the loop is also not getting inside the block. Just for the sake of sanity check, I will make the condition true and let's see what happens. So yeah, you can see it is printing second expression and third expression, and it's all the loop is also the condition is program is also entering the block. So definitely option C is correct. The option C is definitely correct. We can see these two statements are not getting printed. And let's go ahead and check the option D. The right hand side is not evaluated if the left hand side is true. So basically I have to make this OR, logical OR. So let me tell you guys, I'm using the GCC compiler. That's the standard compiler that comes with the Ubuntu Linux system. So that is pretty much the standard being used. So I believe that these answers would be correct. So inside the block. So you see the condition on the left hand side is true, that is one. Then these two statements are not getting executed, the printf and printf again, and the loop is getting inside the other program is getting inside the body of the if condition, if statement. So these are getting I mean these are not getting evaluated. So option D is also correct. The right hand side of an OR operation is not evaluated if the left hand side is true. So yeah, this is also correct. Just for the sake of sanity check, I can put it 0 here and see what is happening. So yeah, you can see second expression is getting executed, and then also third is not executed because OR is true. So let me just read in the options again and then confirm. So option C is the right hand side of an AND operation is not evaluated if the left hand side is false. So this is true. Then option D also says the right hand side of an OR operation is not evaluated if the left hand side is true. So yeah, both the cases we have checked and both of them are true. According to this code, obviously, if I did not make any mistake, and I am pretty much sure that this is correct. So yeah, both the options must be correct. You guys should email the NPTEL team to correct the problem. I mean, correct the correct the solution for the problem. Fine. So sir, can you please share the slide of the programs which was there few moments ago? So it would be upload they would upload on portal. So which program you are telling, Kshitiz? So no, I can't communicate to them because we are only here to solve the problems for you guys. So you guys can just email them and they will do from their side. So maybe I can write up an email, but it would be better if it comes from you guys. Kshitiz is saying, can you please share the slide of the programs which was there a few moments ago? So it may you want to take a screenshot. So for all the programs that I have solved for this session or any other program you are talking about? Armstrong. Acha, the practice programs. Acha, you want to solve these practice programs. So yeah, you can take a screenshot and solve them on your own. Huh. Okay, great. So these are some practice problems. I will ask NPTEL team to upload it. So now, do you guys have any problems? Till then, I can just format this document so that I can upload it. If you have any doubt, just ask me. I will help you. I mean, few for 2 to 3 minutes are remaining, so maybe I will answer the questions for you. If not, then we can end this session. So yeah, these were the problems for this session. So if you have any doubt, any question, any queries, just ask. Otherwise, we can end this session. Yeah, all set. Great. Then maybe you can wait a few minutes. and then I will end this session. So yeah, for all these assignment problems also, just make this an habit. Just simply write the code and see what it's doing, and then go ahead and check for some reference from the internet. Like these are great websites like this is cppreference.com, and there is a book by Dennis Ritchie, Introduction to Programming in C. So you should go ahead and read that book and just write the code, see the behavior of the code, and just match it with the text that has been provided in those books, reference books. Maybe even the NPTEL team must have shared the code, the name of the book that you should refer to while going through this course. So make sure you go through that book, you solve these problems, write code, and make sure that the code matches the logic that has been shared with you guys in those notes. Try to understand how the C compiler is working, how to write programs, try to build logic for all these problems. So yeah, I will end the session at like maybe 8. So there are 3 more minutes. So if you guys still have any doubts, just ask in the chat box. I'm here till then. You can leave. You are free to leave. I'm just here for if you need any more assistance during this session. So basically, the session officially ends at 8. So I'm just here for you guys.